Hello, Superboy Beyond fans. Welcome back. We're doing part 2 of the season 4 opener, Change of Heart. So this is Change of Heart part 2. So this is one of our patented commentaries. Remember, you're not going to see any of the episode in our episode. You are going to see a heavily filtered version of it, which is going to be right up there, just so you can keep in track. So we're going to count you in with a 3, 2, 1 play. So get your DVD copies or your streaming version from Amazon. I think they have it there ready.
I think it's on YouTube as well. I think you have to pay extra for it, but you can buy it on YouTube. I don't know what the quality is like because let's face it, YouTube's compression sucks. But
yeah, and this is us saying that being on YouTube.
Yeah, it's let's face it, as terrible as the quality can be on some of our episodes, it's actually always looked better before uploading to YouTube. YouTube compresses everything just to absolute shit.
Yep.
So that's why you should always buy Blu-ray, even if it's something that's on YouTube for free in HD, because Blu-ray is always better. Physical media, so much less compressed. Anyway, I'm getting really off topic now.
Yep. Okay, Christopher Nolan.
Okay.
So I'm going to count you in with a 3, 2, 1 play. So get ready, everybody. Change of Heart Part 2. This is Season 4, Disc 1, Episode 2. So 3, 2, 1, play.
And here we go. So, Part 1, we only gave a 7 last week. So I do hope that this part is an improvement. I do like this two-parter, but it's... Yeah, other than Jewel of Tetracal, it's easily the weakest of the Superboy openers.
Yeah. I mean, as a whole, it's better if it were released as an hour-long, premiere episode.
Yeah. Yeah, if it was just a solid 42 minutes, probably could have been a little bit better. And let's face it, I don't know what the circumstances were that led to them replacing Lex and Darla with Bill Mumy and whatever her name is.
Well, I think her name was Deanna.
Deanna, okay.
They
couldn't even be bothered to change the first letter of her name.
Yeah.
Instead of Darla, it's Deanna. First and last letter are exactly the same. But no, yeah, I don't know what the circumstances were that led to them having to do it that way and replace the characters. So, I will give it the benefit of the doubt for that. Maybe it was just logistically, it just didn't work out for whatever reason. But I do think it put a dampener on this episode. Yeah, because just think how much better it would be if Lex and Darla were in this one.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, I think it was probably because... it would have, taken away from, Lex being the bad guy,
Although, let's face it, next time we saw Bill Mumy, he was evil again. Talking about performing autopsies on Superboy's corpse and shit,
Well, it's not so much evil as, just a little warped.
Creepy.
Yeah.
But, I'm pretty sure he would become evil again, By the next episode, I'm sure Lex would have been plenty evil enough. Although I guess the next episode is Darla Goes Ballistic, isn't it? With Lex.
I think so, yeah. Here he's playing the emotion right, I would say.
I don't know. He seems more pissed off than he does like he's grieving. He's just lost the love of his life.
I would say he's playing it, numb to everything.
Possibly.
Because I mean, think about it. The woman that you love just died in your arms, essentially, and now you're being questioned on it because they think you did it. and
Mm,
you just it's probably one of the stages of grief here. He's just
probably.
numb to everything.
I don't know. I always got the feeling from this. It just seems more like he's more upset about being accused of the murder than he is about Lana's actual death. If that makes sense.
Honestly, I think maybe.
I think it's a writing issue more than a performance thing. I think if it was in the script that he was a little bit more upset, I think Gerard would have played it that way. But
Yeah,
who knows? Maybe if this was a three-parter, they could actually go into a little bit more depth on what he's actually feeling in these sequences. But I don't
yeah,
know. I just think that in the very short scene that John Newton had when Lana was in the coma in Alien Solution, I just think he played the emotions that Superboy would be feeling in this scene just a little bit better. I think Gerard does a better job with the performance the majority of the time, but there's a few moments like that where I think John was actually slightly better.
yeah.
Which is why I can understand why some people to this day still prefer John. I'm not one of them, but I do still think he's bloody brilliant. One thing I've got to say about this episode, though, who would be watching the Varel show? It's just him standing in front of a backdrop with clouds, talking to the audience about just saying random nonsense that sounds like it's deep, but actually means nothing at all.
Yeah.
Who's watching this show? Who's tuning into that show? If I saw that on, I would change the channel.
Well, remember, it's not so much a channel. It's just screens that you're giving, these daily or hourly messages.
Yeah, but I mean, there was that TV screen was in the police station and that, so surely it's a regular TV. I'm guessing it's just Varel Vision is just a channel that you can tune into.
Well, Adam Varel said that he put up the screens all over the city.
Even in the police station? Like they had a
Yeah.
small one in the police station.
Yeah.
Seems a bit suspicious to me. Like, what possible reason would the police need their own version of the Varel Vision screen?
Well, as he said, in the first part, when they were talking about why he put up the screens, is well, it's the emotions of the city. Tends to get people agitated. So
Hmm.
give them these positive messages.
But I mean, the things that are making them violent are subliminal anyway. You could put anything on the screen. You could show a Looney Tunes cartoon and have the same effects because everything that's affecting people is getting in subliminally anyway. You
Yeah.
could put anything as the foreground. You could even stick on an episode of Super Friends, literally be
Yeah.
anything at all.
But
Now, how
you
funny
know,
would it be if in this scene, all those screens, they're just showing Adam West Batman episodes and people are going mad? And maybe when that priest punched out the ice cream seller, maybe you could have added a biff or a pow,
yeah,
kablam, splash. That's something maybe we'll have to start doing some commentaries on as well. We'll do the Adam West Batman series. Because
yes.
nobody is reacting to that on YouTube. There's a few
Mm.
people that have reacted to the movie, which I love, but I never saw
Sometimes
the
you
point
just
in.
can't get rid of a bomb.
I love that sequence. I know those movies are cheesy, but that's why I love them. It's what makes the comedy work, especially since, Batman himself in that show has no sense of humor at all, but he says the funniest shit.
Yeah.
I guess Superboy was transferred to Arkham Asylum.
Well, remember the screens are affecting everybody in the jail.
Oh, yeah, I know. It just reminds me of an Arkham thing. I like that. Because that is the hardest fight that Superman has, just fighting to retain his morality. Because it would be so easy to just throw his morals aside and start doing what he thinks is best for the world. But he knows that he needs to hold off a little bit. Very
And this,
simple little moment. He didn't even say any dialogue, but it worked. Oh, I
yeah,
like that. I've always thought this scene was funny. Just Jackson's face. Yeah, Jackson's face is just a picture. Robert Levine was so good in this show. I know we say it a lot, but man, he really was. I do wish the Bureau employees were more noticeably people we've seen before.
yeah,
It's a shame they couldn't keep the same extras to work in the background of all the Bureau scenes throughout the show. It's interesting that Matt doesn't seem to be particularly affected at the moment, though. He was just sort of standing there staring.
yeah. We get a little bit more of him a little bit later when Clark finally does break out of prison.
I'm guessing he is affected by that point.
I don't know if maybe he's affected or it's just like everything. They have shown studies that subliminal messaging. There are some people who, because of the way their brains are wired, they are
Basically immune.
yeah.
Hmm.
It doesn't happen very often, but he could be just the one person who's not. And we know that Eddie is not, or Ernie is not affected because he's
Yeah.
blind.
True. Unless some of the subliminal stuff is audible,
Mm.
I will say I think that she's doing a better job in this scene where she was trying to seduce him than she was earlier.
Yeah, I think earlier, in the previous part, and then earlier in this episode, she's just generic gun mall number one.
Yeah, whereas in that scene she was being kind of proactive, trying to get out of there, using her, I guess, her womanly charms.
Yeah,
But I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't have worked with Tracy Roberts because I don't know. Tracy Roberts throws herself at you. I don't think even Adam Varel could resist.
she has the kind of charm that even a gay man would go after.
Especially with all those outfits, I'm sure.
Mm. Okay, now I've watched a podcast called The Casual Criminalist, and
Oh
he
yeah.
talks about crime, and this is very important as to this scene here. One of the rules when he's talking about criminals is don't involve people in your crimes. And yet, what is Adam Varel doing? He's got one of his security guys with him.
Hmm. Then again, the security guy's quite old. Maybe he figures, he's not going to dob me in or anything because it's not like the police are going to give him any reward or anything.
Yeah. And now we lose all respect for this prison psychiatrist.
Mm. I do think the actor's doing well, though.
Yeah.
He's playing it very over the top, but
Well,
I think he's doing well with it.
what Ernie says in a few moments is, when Clark goes back to the bureau, is that they're all acting like they're drunk. So he's playing it essentially like he's drunk.
But it's funny, like he's almost playing it like. I mean, I'm saying this referring almost to myself, but because I was the nerdy kid, but it's like the nerdy kid the first time he tries alcohol. Where they
Yeah.
just get really enthusiastic about everything. I'm basically describing myself the first time I drank.
Well, I've never drank, so I wouldn't know.
Never.
Never. It's the
Blimey.
diabetes, so.
Oh, fair enough. Whereas I'm drinking a Guinness in this episode, despite the fact it's only got 3 in the afternoon, purely because I noticed it's been in the fridge for over a year and it's 3 months out of date. So I thought I better drink it before it spoils. Although, to be fair, if it's been in there for that long and I've not drunk it, probably wouldn't hurt just to throw it away.
Yeah.
I do like a Guinness now and then. It was nice I started drinking it with my lunch. People have suggested that we play drinking games when we watch like crap movies and stuff on this channel, because I've suggested in the past doing it. But the problem is with our time difference. If we were to do that, I'd be drinking at 3 in the afternoon and you'd be drinking at 10 in the morning.
Yeah. Although
Not really
technically,
going to work
I'd
out.
be drinking the Diet Coke.
You sure there's not some vodka in that Diet Coke?
Trust me, there's no vodka in this at all.
Well, I would hope not at whatever time it is where you are now. Has it gone 10 yet?
It's 20 after 10 right now.
Yeah.
This is the one time where I would say David Nutter's direction was bad because it didn't really look like much of a fight.
No, it was a bit rubbish, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Which is a shame because you see scenes like this where they're pushing like the woman around on a cart and they're all having fun. Like this is really directed well. Like if some of the time that probably went into shooting this scene went on that fight. I know the fight isn't exactly the focus of the episode, but it still would have been fun.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Dennis Jackson. I like that. Matt seems like he's unaffected, but then he just casually punches out his boss. Which I guess just goes to prove that maybe Matt is the single coolest character in the history of DC Comics.
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense.
And now Clark starts to put it together.
Yeah, but I guarantee after this, Ernie knows that Clark is Superboy because how else is he unaffected? He knows Clark isn't blind. Oh, so they are just regular TV screens. It's just, I guess, the Varel Vision is just a channel. Maybe the big screens out on the street are real, like the giant, great big screens. But I think any time it's indoors, it is just their TV.
Yeah. Well, I think that was
Ernie has always had that TV there as well.
Yeah, I think that was just done for logistics.
Yeah, but as well, I don't think that visual effect shot looked particularly good when the screen broke.
I like this sequence here where all the screens seem to be going dead on the little monitor.
I do like that, how he's addressing him via the screen. Oh dear.
And here's the problem, okay? Superboy's already wanted for killing Lana. And now you admit that she's not dead?
At the very least, he's going to get charged with, attempted
Kidnapping.
Yeah. Kidnapping, false imprisonment, maybe attempted murder. I don't think faking your own death or faking someone else's death is illegal technically, but it should be. I think it's only illegal if you do it, for monetary gain or something, like life insurance or something.
Yeah.
Like that guy that disappeared in a canoe, and then turned out that he just bought the house next door to his wife, and he was just living there for 12 years. Nobody realised. I'm sure some people out there know what I'm referring to with that.
I think this is a reuse of the prop that Lex had in part two of the season two opener. When he
I
had
think it is.
they
I
just
mean, they did
changed out.
reuse props a lot in this show, though, didn't they? I do like that, though, that the moment Tommy Puck finds out that he's not actually dying, he just immediately switches back over to the bad guys again, which would have made it work for Lex perfectly. The moment Lex realizes he's not actually dying, just have him immediately turn evil again. Even if Tommy Puck ends up betraying Varel in a bit, but I can't remember how this episode ends, but I'm sure something like that must happen.
Mm.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Ooh. Obviously, the meaning of the word simp has changed significantly since this episode came out. Nobody
Yeah.
calls me a simp means something very different now. Although I'm sure now there'll be people in the comments saying that we're simping for Darla.
We always have been.
Yeah. I think as long as we don't start sending free gifts to all the actresses from Superboy, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah.
All
But
about
just when
perspective.
he says that line, nobody calls me a simp. That would have been so Lex to say
Yeah.
that.
I mean, Lex called Superboy a simp in Mind Games when he's trying to goad Superboy into killing him with the shovel. Like, he calls him a useless weakling simp and shouts like "Murder me!" Yeah.
Mm.
So that seems like a very Lex line. Now that you've told me that originally this was supposed to be a Lex and Darla episode, it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
But then there are a lot of Lex episodes in this season.
Yeah.
Technically, I mean, let's face it. No Line Enemy and Darla Goes Ballistic, I think, aired back to back to each other. So it was Lex followed by Lex followed by Lex.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they figured, maybe we'll make it a different character just in case.
Well, I think it really has to do with the fact that doing this episode, it kind of leaves it up in the air as to whether or not Lex is actually going to go good or
Which is
yeah,
fine. It leaves them plenty of places they can go for the next episode or whatever. And yeah, I think it works.
yeah. I mean, on this disc we have Darla Goes Ballistic, and then there's a skip in between, because then we have
Oh,
Paranoia,
Paranoia. Yeah.
and then it's Know Thine Enemy parts 1 and 2.
Yeah. And Lex isn't in anything after. Is Lex in Threesome?
Yes,
Okay,
but
so we do
Darla
have
is not.
more. Yeah, Darla didn't appear again.
Yeah, after Know Thine Enemy, we didn't get Darla again.
Yeah, Out of Luck he wasn't in because we watched that one recently. That was the Patrick Kupo episode, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Who is Superboy? I don't remember if Lex was in that. Maybe in a flashback because I think that was a clip show
yeah,
one.
yeah. Lex and Darla do appear in that, but only as clips.
Cat and Mouse, probably same thing. It's a clip
Yep.
show. Obituary for a Superhero.
Lex only.
Lex only. Well, at least that makes sense, Having Darla in there would have not made much sense. Metamorphosis was obviously the Rowdy Roddy Piper episode, which
Yep.
we enjoyed that one when we did a commentary on that recently, actually. That was a good episode. Even if the old age makeup on Lana looks a bit shit.
In some cases, it does. In some
Occasionally it
cases,
looks good, but I think the majority of the time it looks shit.
yeah. Since you brought that up,
Mm.
I finally found a cop. I finally found the Rowdy Roddy Piper as John Nada from They Live figure that Mattel
Oh,
just put out. Just
Oh,
found it
that's
for
cool.
very cheap, and it's going to be added to the Superboy collection because you got
Cool.
to have Adrian Temple.
Is he wearing anything that looks vaguely similar to what he wore in the episode?
The end of the episode when he just when Sasha comes to pick him up or comes to get him to bring
Hmm.
his formula to him.
Isn't he wearing a leather jacket or something in that scene?
He's wearing a tank top, and that's what the figure has.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. I wonder if you could even get extra clothes to put on figures. You know, like with Barbies and Ken dolls, you can buy the extra outfits and shit. I
There
wonder if
are
you can
some
get outfits
there are
for
some
stuff like that.
wrestling websites where they sell accessories for the figures.
Hmm. I did see a custom, like someone was making custom stuff on YouTube and they were showing how they did some of it and they made a leather coat for it. And they literally just got like some sort of modeling clay or something and they put it over the top of the figure, smoothed it out. But then they got an actual sheet of leather and they were just pressing the leather onto the clay so that all the patterns of the leather was imprinted on it.
Yeah.
Once they painted it, man, it looked good. Like they were doing it to make like a custom. I think it was maybe a Zack Snyder Batman figure, like the Apocalypse outfit that he's wearing.
Right.
Um, yeah, so I think that's what they were doing. Maybe it was something else. I don't know, but yeah, really clever idea. Maybe you could do a version that has the jacket or whatever. Because I mean, he was wearing a leather jacket in that episode, wasn't he? Am I
No, he
just
wasn't. He was
misremembering?
at the beginning of the episode when we first meet him. He's sort of wearing um, uh, a workout outfit,
Right.
and then later on he's just wearing the tank top. And then after that, when he's injecting himself, he's got the tank top on, and then he's got the like a flannel shirt over it,
Hmm. Oh,
which is exactly the same thing that he was wearing in They Live. So
brilliant. You know, that's cool though that there's even an action figure available. And let's face it though, if it was a They Live action figure, you know the sunglasses would probably have been on it by default. And I don't think he wore sunglasses in that episode, so
it comes with removable sunglasses.
brilliant. Fantastic.
Yep.
Anyway, we've gotten very off topic here. Should we give this episode a score out of 10? On the
Yeah, I would
season
say
4
that
scale,
this.
as always.
Yeah. I'd say this episode is a bit better than the first part.
I'd agree. Yeah.
I mean, as a whole,
7.5, maybe 7.75 is the maximum, I think,
I
though.
would go 7.5 on this.
Yeah.
Together they probably would get an 8. Because
True. But
it's
yeah,
a
if we're just, you know, lumping them in and we're not doing them or rather we're not lumping them in and we're doing them individually, I think you're right. 7 and a 7.5 is about the most you can give it.
yeah
But we might as well give both parts a separate score. We'll give that an 8, you know.
yeah
But
yeah
yeah,
definitely. As a whole story, it gets an 8.
yeah. Just for an
5 and
episode,
12.
7.5.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there are moments where it's absolutely great. I mean, just that sequence when he's in the jail and he's pulling the bars apart, and then he like
Yeah, he puts them back together. Yeah.
it's almost like Jonathan and Martha's upbringing, kind of ingrained in him the idea that you must follow the law at all times, even if the law sucks, even
Yeah.
if the law is wrong. You got to do the right thing. You follow the law.
And it makes sense for the character as well because even back in season 1 with Beast and the Beauty, when he was being framed for a load of robberies, he could have just got out of prison really easily if he wanted to. But
Well, there's that scene in Beast and the Beauty when Harris has him arrested, and he says, "Harris, I could break out of here anytime I wanted. You know that."
mm,
And Harris says to him, "Yeah, I know. I still have to say it."
I do like that episode. Maybe we'll have to watch that one again. Although I guess by the time we finish doing our commentaries on seasons 1 through 4, and we start doing it in order, we do a second round of commentaries. I guess Beast and the Beauty won't take us that long to get to.
Yeah.
So I guess we can just wait on that. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Unless there's anything else you'd like to say on this particular episode.
No, I think we've pretty much said everything that we can about this episode and the previous one.
Okay.
I mean, as a whole, they're it would have been better if they'd aired it as a 1 hour special season premiere. I mean,
Yeah.
because it
But
works
let's
better.
face it, we say that a lot about. Yeah, I don't think the cliffhanger really works that well because it's not. I don't know if it's down to the direction or the acting or what, or the writing even, but I don't know. I just don't feel like the cliffhanger really works that well because no one in the audience actually believes that Lana is dead. So
Yeah,
dramatically, it has no stakes whatsoever
the
because you know she's alive.
a cliffhanger like that really only works when it's the season finale.
Yeah,
You know,
because if you don't know if they're coming back next year, that could be a big deal. It's like,
yeah,
best of both worlds with TNG. People genuinely didn't know if Riker would just be the captain from now on. I know
yeah,
that the producers threatened a few times when Patrick Stewart was getting a little bit full of himself. They said, "Oh well, we'll kill you off. It's all right. We'll just make Riker the captain, and we'll keep going without you." And that's how they got him to calm down a little bit a few times.
yep,
Although I think whoever the guy was that was showrunner in season 2, I believe he actually threatened that the opening episode for season 2 will be that the Enterprise blows up and the entire season will be about finding out who killed the entire Enterprise. And that would have been the plot line. That's how he got people to sign on for however long they did.
yeah,
But he was then fired. I think it was Maurice Hurley, if I remember right, who made that threat.
yeah,
And I'm pretty sure he was kicked off the show by season 3 because season 2 somehow in a lot of ways was actually worse than season 1. Like,
and then in a lot of ways, it was a lot better than season one.
some of it was, but some of it was so much worse. Like, season 1, I think going back and rewatching it now, there's a surprising number of just fantastic episodes in there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Even episodes like, oh God, what's it called? Is it First Duty or something? First Duty, is that the one? I don't know. There's one where, Wesley's trying out for Starfleet Academy and he's going up and they keep testing him in various ways and stuff. And I like that episode quite a bit, even though it's a Wesley episode. I know there's a B plot that's going on with something else entirely, but I like that one. And
yeah,
even episodes like Too Short a Season with the Admiral that's determined to recapture his youth and he's taken the anti-aging thing and he's done too much and by the end he's like sweating and he's randomly talking like Christopher Lambert from Highlander for some reason. I don't know what it is, but by the end of the episode he just reminds me of Christopher Lambert constantly. If you go
yeah.
back and watch that episode, I think you'll see what I mean if you're a Highlander fan. Really getting off topic now. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.